Hi, this is DJ Flame. This is UFORadio.pro in conjunction with Skywatcher Radio, and we have Deborah Jane East, who is my co-host. Just bear with me because right, that's better. And our guest tonight is Eric Cooper. Hi, Eric.
Hey, how you doing?
Not too bad. Hi there, Jane. Deborah Jane East, that is.
Yes, I'm here. I am raring to go. Excited about being able to talk to Eric and his group called the Forest Moon Paranormal.
Sounds very good to me.
Indeed.
So, right then, as you may know, I myself, which is AKA DJ Flame, but known as Russ Kellett, UFO investigator into UFOs, and also ghost hunting and paranormal over the years. So, you know, sort of like a bit of a variety there. So it's good to get other people on that have got an interest in UFOs and paranormal ghosts. The whole caboodle. So are you there, Eric? Are you still with us? Just bear with us because I can tell we're having some kind of problem. It always happens to us.
I know, I think Skype has it out for us.
You know something? I was just thinking the same myself. Just infamy! They've all got it infamy. It's alright, that was from a Carry On movie, never mind. Are you back with us, Eric?
I'm back. Don't you love the internet?
It has its good points and it has its bad points, and that's one of the bad points. So I was just saying,
Indeed.
So just saying that a lot of interest in UFOs and, on the whole, the paranormal problem. Where did it all start for you, this paranormal business?
The paranormal business started when I was 14, and I was chasing my cows, and my cows were running for the highway, and all of a sudden they stopped, and they all stared at something I couldn't see, and they ran 2 miles all the way back to our farm.
Right. So what was it that...
Are you still there?
Yeah. So it started... Right then. So I've just got a sort of like garbled bit of that at the end, sorry. So you were on your farm. Hi, Eric, are you still there?
My cows were out of our pasture. They were in the neighbor's pasture. And I went down to get them back into our farm. And
yeah,
they saw me and they saw the highway and they ran for the highway. And all of a sudden they screeched to a stop. And whatever they saw terrified them. And they ran all the way back to our farm, which is about 2 miles or so. I never did see what it was, but that was kind of my introduction to the paranormal.
Right, something very strange, but you couldn't put your finger on it.
Well, yeah, and when you have animal reaction along with it, it kind of...
right.
Well, I grew up on a farm. Yeah, I grew up on a farm around cows and everything, and usually, if they see something like...
Are you there? Have you gone?
There must be a slow internet connection.
Right. So that was the first. That was your first experience of something a little bit strange.
Yeah, and my cousin mentioned a ghost in his house, but and I might have seen a shadow. That was about it back then. But my childhood, I never really experienced a whole lot.
Right.
I experienced more in my army time in Germany than I did most places.
Say again, sorry. You had more experiences when?
When I was in the Army, I when I started experiencing the most, and a lot of that was in Germany.
Right. Strangely enough, that's where my dad was based when he was in the tank regiment in the 50s. It was in a tank regiment.
Germany was my first actual. Germany was my first actual UFO sighting.
Really? So whereabouts is this then?
Right outside Kitzingen.
Right.
Was it day or night?
Yeah, it's okay.
I could see the moon off to my right, but there's a giant orange orb about the same size as the moon off to my left. I knew that was, that was electric for a good 5 minutes, and then just like you would turn the light switch out, it just kind of blinked off.
So how long was that? How long was that seen for? How long did you actually view it for?
About 5 minutes.
Right, and did it actually follow you? How did it go out of sight?
No, it was like over open fields. It wasn't even there was no mountains around. There was no nothing. It was all flat land.
Yeah.
So there's nowhere it could hide, or it was just it was like somebody turned off a light switch.
Right. So it was there 1 minute and then it disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah.
So any smell and any strange smell at the time? Anything happened to you? Sort of like any interference with the radio, if the radio was on, or anything like that?
Not that I noticed. I mean, because it was probably a good 2 miles out.
So you really couldn't determine distance then? I mean the size, so if it was that far away.
Sorry, can you say again? Just hi, who talking? Was that you, Deborah? Yeah.
Yes, I'm still here.
Sorry, what was you saying?
Okay, there you are.
Yeah, I missed the question. Did you miss the question, Eric?
Yeah, I did. I couldn't understand her.
No, you.
What I was saying was, at 2 miles away, you probably couldn't determine the size of the object then.
About basketball shaped, or about basketball size.
Right. So that was a fairly big. That was a fairly big object then.
Yeah, it was. I knew. I mean, I didn't speak much German back then, so I don't know if it hit papers or anything at that point.
So
what? 96 or so.
96, right? 96. So what was the next biggest sort of like city or town? Are you there, Eric?
I should go on my balcony, and I took a flashlight, and I shone this flashlight and flashed it at what looked like a star that was moving, and it shot down towards me and hovered. And then
Eric, just bear with
I guess.
Is this another incident? What you're talking about, Eric? Because
yeah, this is another incident.
Right, sorry, because we just skipped from the question that I asked to what sounded like something totally different. So,
I didn't hear your question.
Yeah, I gathered that then. I was just saying, so the first incident. What was the nearest city to going down this autobahn? What would be the nearest city?
Would have been Kitzingen.
Kitzingen.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right then. So we'll go on to your second incident now. Yeah.
Probably a year later, and I've been researching UFOs. Actually, I started researching UFOs and alien abduction about '94. I had a friend that she woke up and had triangle-shaped pattern of needle marks on her abdomen, which is common with, back then was the alien hybrid theories that were going around. She came up pregnant and it disappeared 2 weeks later. Same basic patterns as was happening with abductees back then, which I later found out.
Right.
Are you still there?
Yeah. No, I'm just listening.
Okay.
Right. So she had these strange marks, like tribal marking. She was pregnant, and then, like we hear so many times, there's no fetus there, and is that right? Yeah.
Right.
We were just talking about that last week.
Yeah, that was common. My first book I picked up, in fact, was Dr. David Jacobs' Secret Life, which went into the whole thing, which kind of boggled my mind because here I am going through it and then reading about it.
Right.
And, so
I guess it was
surreal. Yeah. So then I started picking up all the books I could, and Linda Moulton Howe. Basically, Linda Moulton Howe and David Jacobs were probably the two biggest ones I stuck with.
Right. So what happened after this then? How did it all sort of like accumulate? And
well, then I started researching, and that was in '94. So in '96, we had a dog. We had a chow chow, and we had one incident where we felt a presence, and it left a metallic taste in your mouth. And our chow actually was watching the ceiling and following something around. That was kind of our second big incident.
Can you just say, just wait a minute, Eric, because you just told me something there. What were you saying about the metallic what?
Okay, it left kind of like the flavor if you put a penny in your mouth.
Really?
It left the metallic.
That is interesting.
Yeah. I am just looking.
Yeah, I've never had.
I am just looking at some records here, right? Yeah, and one of the things I'm complaining of when I have to see a doctor, right? Yeah, is I'm getting a metallic taste in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, what's the doctor saying about it?
Pardon?
What's the doctor saying about it?
It's a very strange, odd. They've no idea. But I just, I just cannot, and I mean, that's what I was doing earlier on before you called, and I just, I'm just taken back that I'm thinking, hang on, I'm sure, I've complained about this taste in my mouth.
How long was the taste? How long did the taste last?
It wasn't long. It was about 15 minutes or so. And at the meantime, our chow chow was following something around on the ceiling. And the taste left about the time the presence left. So I know that the metallic taste was along with the entity or the alien or whatever it was. We never did figure out what it was.
Was it with everybody that was witnessing the thing?
Yes.
Have that taste?
Yes.
Okay.
So not just yourself?
No. There's one other person.
Right. That is unbelievable. Yeah.
So
we learn something every time we have people on. We learn something and we make a comparison to other stuff. So that really hit home for you, didn't it, Russ?
Oh yeah. I mean, I just had to ask again. I'm thinking, hang on, did he just say what I thought he said? And I'm sort of like, and I'm looking here because you know, sort of like me mum and my sister, you know, sort of like know about this as well, you know, because and I'll tell you what I've done though, right? Yeah, I must admit this is what I've done. We have now what you would call a special kettle, right? Yeah, you know, like a filter, right? Yeah, I have a special filter, you know, because just in case there's something in the water, and I only drink bottled water. You know what I mean? But you know what?
Yeah. Oh.
You know what? I can still sometimes taste it. But this has gone on for me for quite some time. I'm talking about years.
Right.
But see, this just proves that to have a taste in your mouth, that you inhaled something from the atmosphere around you. Because, you know,
Right.
women, you know how we like to use hairspray? We can be in a room and spray hairspray, and I could be on the other end, and after a while, you know, you go, yuck, somebody must have sprayed hairspray because I can taste it. So whatever this presence was, yes, in the room, and, you know, even if it was tiny, minute particles, you inhaled it, you breathed it in, and had the taste in your mouth. So that's really interesting. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that before.
Mm.
No, that was unique, and it's never happened since. It's just that one entity, or you know, that one species that caused it.
So did you actually get a look at this this species or anything?
No. You can feel its presence. And we'll get to the reptilians, but the reptilians are the same way. They cloak, but this species was cloaked, whatever it was, and it moved rapidly. I can go by that just by the way the dog was acting, and it kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It kind of reassures you that you're not crazy when you have an animal response along with what you're experiencing.
Right, yeah. Because I'm just reading this here. I've actually sorry about this. Right.
Yeah, Eric, Russ is researching some from his experience when he was abducted, and he's been looking over some information from the past about his symptoms and everything. So that's sort of what's going on.
So do you have the routine, the routine scoop marks and the? Have you ever had an implant?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a very long, drawn out story, and it's gone on for 25 years, and it's like implants in me. Well, sort of like side of my ear and my eye, one on my arm. And it's an ongoing thing, but I'm just trying to make sense of one of these notes here where it says, hang on, metabolism, iron, copper, magnesium disorder. Right, yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
There's
you
know, I've been talking about. Like I said, I've been talking about, you know, this taste and what have you. Sorry, right. I don't want to spoil this interview. Sorry, I'm just so, you know, there's things happening now, and you know,
understandable.
Scoop marks. I've had all sorts of marks over the years. You know, sort of like, and in fact, I'm talking to my mum and my sister. About this, and sort of like, you know, they're telling me things. What I actually had, I had I had a memory loss, right? Yeah, in 1990 odd. I'm just looking again, and I had memory loss. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I cannot understand why, because I had a brain scan, and they found something. You know what I mean? They found a brain, which, you know, hell. to a lot of people.
Certainly glad they found your brain.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, I knew there was one there. I knew.
Did they give it back to you?
Clarice, I told you before. I'll come over and see you later tonight.
I had to say that.
No, you didn't.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, let's get on with your story. It's not about me. It's about Listen, I'm terribly sorry about this, but when you get when you get so enthusiastic, being a contactee, abductee, and you're talking to people that are going through things, and they're talking about things that you've actually wrote down, you've gone and complained about to your doctor, and you've wrote down, and your family know about it. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, wow, it hits home a little bit,
Oh yeah,
Back to the dog. I think animals are perceptive to things that humans, can't see or hear. So that was very interesting about the dog, watching the movement.
And what's interesting about the Chow Chow is the Chow Chow was supposed to be a breed that came from Atlantis. I don't know if you know much about the history of chows, which is why I love this dog. Trying to put it in perception, but yeah, it'd be about the distance from an airplane, and then it shot back up to its original point.
Right. So when you say the distance of an airplane, what do you actually mean by that?
Okay, going from from what you would see a star from the ground, versus what you'd see an airplane.
Yeah.
Airplane lights.
Yeah.
About that comparison. It could have been viewed as an airplane, but it wasn't, because then it shot back up into its, star realm. So
did it actually come down to the ground, you mean? No. It came down lower?
No, not to the ground. That's what I meant by about the distance of an airplane.
I see.
And then it went back to it. And then it went back up to its point in the sky.
Right, I get it. I thought you meant it actually come down to the ground, you see. So,
right.
Right, so that was that incident. Right, so I'll let you, carry on. Just tell us, what happened and from there, yeah?
Well, then I got stationed at Fort McPherson in Atlanta, Georgia. And I had a security clearance because we were Third Army, and Third Army deals with everything in the Middle East, pretty much. And so I had to work in a secure building every once in a while for 24-hour shifts, and got to talk to some FEMA people. And this woman had worked for FEMA, and she didn't go into detail, but she said she had to leave because they were doing things that just weren't okay. And I continued my research, and I was kind of researching Philip Schneider and some of the deeper ops, and noticed my phone was getting tapped and I was being followed, and I kind of put that into perception because I had a security clearance, and they were wondering what I was doing, researching UFO type stuff.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting how they always find out that stuff that you're researching and keep tabs on people?
They watch. That was when the internet first started taking off. This was about 98, 99. So yeah, it was about when the internet first started taking off. And I got caught up with Peter Gersten. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Peter Gersten. He started CAUSE, the Citizens Against UFO Secrecy.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I posted my story on that one because Atlanta is actually where I had my first reptilian encounter.
Really?
And I don't even. I'm trying to think. I don't remember where I first heard about reptilians, but I knew it was a reptilian. I was standing outside my apartment, and I felt a presence. And like I was talking to Deborah the other day. I think it was yesterday when we were talking about reptilians. But the stench, you don't. I've never seen one physically. I've only felt them, and the feeling they give you is the worst feeling of dread. I can't even think of how to describe it.
Oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I've done 4 combat tours and I've never felt that way.
Yeah.
Were you outside? Were you outside when you felt the presence?
Oh yeah, I was outside my apartment, and I kind of noticed praying mantises were. I've never seen a praying mantis before this point, but praying mantises seem to be drawn to reptilians. Probably because they're, I don't know. I got real nauseous, so I felt like I was being attacked, and all of a sudden there's this high, shrill, piercing sound inside my head, and it was gone.
Could you describe what it smelled like?
Think of garbage, sewer, and death all rolled up into one.
A politician.
Oh,
a politician,
that's bad.
Yeah? Yeah, oh yeah. You know how they describe bears? You know how if you're walking in the woods and you smell garbage and it's supposed to be a bear?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Think of that 100 times worse.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We have that over here. They're called politicians.
Well, they're here in America too, I must admit.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, there's supposed to be a reptilian nest right in my backyard up on Sauk Mountain. I'm not sure, haven't confirmed any of that, but other than tarot readings, and one of the members of our group does spirit readings. He actually has spirits and deities and uses tarot cards along with it to get a reading. And we were going to do an expedition up on Sauk Mountain, and got strongly encouraged not to, so we didn't.
Not a good idea.
I'm not going to mess with it.
No.
They have, I know they have one weapon that I know of that's the size of a flashlight, and it's an atomic decomposer. That's the only way I can describe it. When they activate it, you literally disintegrate. It makes your atoms dissolve.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
I've seen something very similar. A rifle that is a sonic. It's like a sound weapon, and that does virtually the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that does virtually the same thing. Yeah.
And so, after this high shrill pitch, which I was told later was actually the Greys pushing the reptilians away.
Is it like a scream? Is it like a...
No, it was more electronic.
Right.
It was more of an electronic noise, not so much a scream.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I know the noise. What I'm saying is, so what's pushing it away then? Is it a sound? Is it like a weapon that's pushing it away, or is it themselves pushing it away?
It could have been. It very well, because I'm not familiar with all their weaponry. But it very well could have been a noise, like a noise pulsar or something.
Right. I see, yeah. So, could be a weapon. Right, I get it.
But that was my first encounter. My last encounter would have been in 2006, and that was at Fort Lewis, Washington. Now, there's a theory, because I'm not sure if have you ever heard of Ramtha?
Say again?
There's a, have you ever heard of Ramtha?
No.
I haven't.
No.
There's a compound in Yelm, Washington. I can't remember all the names, but there was a woman from New Mexico that started channeling, or a deity, an alien, ancient alien named Ramtha, started channeling through her.
Right.
And she moved to Yelm, Washington, and they started their own group. I won't say cult, but a group. And they believe there's an alien race that lives in Mount Rainier.
Right.
How did they come to that conclusion?
I believe through these channelings. Through these Ramtha channelings. And they have a whole school set up, and they have I have a friend that lives up near there, and they have a big compound, and they have a big celebration, or if you want to call it that, once a year. And they have students from all over the world, and they do I believe they do healing channelings, and but they believe in this alien race, which I believe would probably be, again, the reptilians, because reptilians seem to like mountain compounds. But again, I was at Fort Lewis, and I stepped out of my van, and again felt the same presence I'd felt in Atlanta. So I know it was reptilians again, and it's kind of funny. Our van broke down after that.
Oh gosh!
So was this military, or was this your own vehicle getting to and from?
Say again?
Was this your own private vehicle, or was this a military vehicle that you was in?
No, this is my own private vehicle, and I never ran after that. We had to actually have it towed from the PX, the store we were at on base, back to our housing, and it never ran again.
Right.
Well, somebody didn't want you to reach your destination.
Nope. Which was home. I don't know.
So it wouldn't be
it
wouldn't be far from you on you. So obviously you lived on the base, so it wouldn't be that far.
No, we were only like 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
But then I was back to walking and hitching rides again.
Right, which is as I've been told, is pretty good for you anyway. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, you know.
Keeps you fresh.
I'm curious. Were there other military personnel that spoke about alien sightings or technology or crafts or anything at all like that? Or what was the overall census of the people higher up in charge?
Higher up in charge, you don't talk about it. They just think you're crazy, or they act like you're crazy. All the units I was in, I mean, I was a combat medic for 4.5 years, and then I was a truck mechanic / combat medic for the last 15. And every unit I was in, no, you just don't talk about UFOs. And we won't even talk about alien abduction. Oh my God, UFOs are bad enough.
Yeah, I guess that was a taboo subject.
Oh yeah. Now I don't know if it was because they were warned from higher up, or if that was just their personal preference, that they just didn't talk about it.
So did anybody though in sort of like in your unit and what have you, in your regiment, your platoon and what have you, did any of them have any strange things actually happen?
Oh God, I already have memory loss, so I think not that I recall. No, pretty much on my own. There might have been one or two in the whole 19.5 years. Might have been one or two that actually shared our interest, but no, not really. I was pretty much on my own.
Right.
So you experienced a lot of events through your life that were pointing you into the Twilight Zone area of the unexplained and different kinds of anomalies and all that kind of stuff then.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, growing up, if I even wanted to watch a UFO documentary or anything, oh my God, no! I had very, very devout and still very devout Christian parents, and went to Christian school and went to church every Sunday, every Wednesday. Went to Junior Spreaker Bible College at their request for one semester, and never fit into Christianity. So, but they accept what I am today. But
now you are a witch, is that correct?
Yes, I'm a witch. And my wife's a witch, and our kids are going to be witches unless they choose not to be.
Now that's a big change because, you know, Jimmy Swagger, you know, he was big here in the South. That's a big change. But how did you make that transition?
Oh, like I said, I never, even my mom said, you know, when she found out, she's like, you know, I was hoping you'd stay Christian, but you never did fit into Christianity. You would go through the motions, but you never did fit in. You weren't, it wasn't your path. And that was pretty much her words.
Well, that was pretty understanding of her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, when I hit 18, 19, I started studying the occult in general, witchcraft, tarot, occult sciences always intrigued me. So,
I think for a lot of people, to be quite honest, you know, for a lot of inquiring minds in the teens and afterwards, always look into books about the occult and magic and what have you. I wouldn't say it was anything abnormal.
Well, I never did growing up. I wasn't even interested growing up. I lived on a farm. My life revolved around my cows.
Yeah.
I was in 4-H. I lived on a farm. I showed cows in the fair. Farming was my life. I wasn't nothing new age, nothing paranormal, nothing really interested me growing up.
No.
Which is kind of why seeing my cows spook the way they did kind of opened my eyes, because you know, the grass wasn't tall enough for me to see anything. I didn't see a skunk or a raccoon. There was nothing mundane that should have scared them enough to run from the neighbor's pasture all the way back to the barn. And for them to run the whole way, that's a good 1 to 2 miles.
Did you ever find any mutilations or anything like that?
No, you know, I've never actually seen one. I've never seen a crop circle. I've never actually physically seen any of the other signs.
Really? Right. Well,
always wanted to, but
yeah, I mean, I've seen quite a few over the years, to be quite honest. I've actually got some photographs here with me studying crop circles and what have you. But I've never...
You live in the crop circle headquarters.
That's true.
Well, no, I live quite a number of miles away from around Wiltshire and what have you. You know, I live up in North Yorkshire. You know, it's like about as far as you can get. You know, sort of like away from civilization. You know, but I have heard of some very strange things about mutilations, and in fact, very close to where I used to live, there was a cemetery and a quarry, and apparently they were trying to keep this to themselves. Was sort of like the council, and what they said was that no, you know, when I once made some inquiries about this, about finding some mutilated foxes, and somebody had actually said an horse and a dog, and they said, "Oh no, that's ridiculous. We haven't heard anything like that, right?" And then they said something later on that says, I think it was something like, it's never happened. And they actually said where it had happened. So I thought, right, well, they either know or somebody else must have made an inquiry about something happening in that place, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
The two places, sort of like one was quite next to the other, really. But I never said where as such. I said, I'm just ringing, sort of like about, some mutilations. And I told them, sort of like, but it was mostly, so I was told, mostly of foxes. So anyway.
No, I've never heard.
But there is a bigger story behind it. Well, that Amy the hamster used to say that'll be another story.
Okay.
Well, there was a sighting in North Carolina this year of cows in a pasture, and they said hiding behind a tree was a tall, spindly-like creature that was not human, that was close to the cows. And there was also a little bit later, when the figure disappeared, there was a UFO sighting, and that was here in North Carolina. So, it's definitely interesting about the cows and, what happened. So
you've got Bragg right there, where Delta Force and Spec Ops and all of them are headquartered. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like your interview the other day with Charlie. In fact, I was just talking to Charlie just before the show, as a matter of fact.
He is an interesting guy. He has a lot of information that I've never heard from anybody else.
I can correlate a lot of it. Not all of it, but through my research, I've actually got some documentation and whatnot. If you look at the Philip Schneider lectures, and a lot of that correlates what he says. So, yeah, most definitely.
That just give me the cold chills.
Well, Google search, and I'm pretty sure you've already know about the Dulce Wars, the wars against Delta Force and the reptilians in Dulce, New Mexico.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. But the thing is, what I like to do, I like, to keep, sort of like what people know themselves and what they've come across rather than somebody else's, if you know what I mean.
Right.
It's one of these things where, I've heard so many times about this and what have you, but I like people to stick to their own stories and what have you. Otherwise, we can just, sort of like talk about, Dulce. It's like, heard it all before. I like I say, when I have a guest on, I want to hear what they know and what they've come across, if you know what I mean.
It just adds another piece to the puzzle.
Because it's more interesting.
Exactly.
It's more interesting, I mean, obviously that's interesting, don't get me wrong. But, when it's coming from the heart, when it's personal, and when it's from a guest and what have you, it's like, well, that's what I like to hear. I could be wrong, tell me if I'm wrong. I know that I'll get people Skyping me, or I'll get people on that good old Facebook telling me that I'm wrong, but that's just my opinion. So, right.
The way I do research, I'll research it, and if I have someone that tells me a piece of the puzzle that correlates with what I researched, that they couldn't have researched themselves, then that just adds validity to what I've done research on.
Yeah.
So that's been my research in the last 20 years now. I guess it'll be 20 years this year.
Very, very similar to my own. Like I say, when people start telling me about things that I myself, not somebody else, has actually had an experience, you know what I mean? With me being a abductee, I go, right.
If I could Google it and find the same information, then that just throws they could have done the same thing. But with
there,
Charlie,
we're getting there. We're getting there, brother. We're getting there. That's just it. There's a fantastic tool out there to look at every fairy story under the sun.
Exactly.
And I like to stick to, like I say, I like to stick to people's testimonies and their stories. And sort of like when I start getting things, when somebody's telling me things and I've experienced them, then it's a case, my ears prick up and I go, wow, I'll listen to this boy,
Yep.
I'll listen to this boy or this girl. You know what I
Well,
mean?
Eric, can I ask how many people are in your paranormal team? Because I know you have a lot of fans on Facebook, your group does, but how did you gather up people to be on your team?
Okay, in the team, there's about 10. Actual astral travelers, about 4. We just gained 2 more, and they're being tested. And I myself cannot astral. I physically cannot astral. I'm sealed, which means my third eye is sealed shut. It was sealed shut at birth, and so I physically cannot astral. My wife's offered to have me astral through her, but I choose not to because there's a reason I don't astral. I'm more the mediator. I'm the one who finds the case. I will get the details of the case. And on Facebook, which is, we don't have a website because Facebook is the easiest medium to use with how we do things.
It is today now. I mean, people don't even really need a website.
No.
As such.
No, and that's why we don't have.
You've got one. You've got your own page.
Right.
And that's like a private, you know. I mean, there's a lot of good things about the old Facebook, you know.
Right.
Some not so good, but some pretty good.
Most of our cases are spirit or entity related. We don't do a whole lot. I'm more or less the UFO alien abduction. That's my specialty. So the rest of our cases are usually, I do have the occasional abductee that contacts me, and they don't know what's going on. They give me the symptoms and what's going on with them, and I can say yay or nay, and yeah, sounds like you're being abducted. Let's see about getting you maybe some hypnotherapy if you're interested, and we go from there.
Can you honestly say that does any good, Eric? Can you honestly say that that does any good?
It can. It does good, I guess, for the research community. Does it do good for the...
No, not about the community, man. We're talking about the person. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Now, the person, that's why it's completely up to them. Do they want to relive what they've been through, or do they want to remember what they've been through? Probably not. That's why I leave it completely up to them, and I don't push for it.
No, I would say it's a good, a very good forward thinking there. If someone's going to remember, they're going to remember. And I
conscious recall.
Good to recall it.
Conscious recall is the only. Conscious recall is actually the most accurate anyway.
That's right.
Because hypnotherapy can be too leading. If you have the wrong hypnotherapist, they're going to lead you into a fairy tale.
You've hit the nail on the head there, bro. You've hit the nail on the head there. And you know, some people really want it so much, right? Yeah, they really want somebody so much to be an abductee in groups and what have you, and to say that, look, I found somebody here, and sort of like, it's not about that, and like I said, it's not about them, it's about the person, the regressor, and it almost becomes, oh, look, I found somebody. And it's like almost like them. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've seen it so many times before, and it's like I'll make you a star, but also I'll make myself. You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
I think to myself, oh, no.
we can make a movie out of your story. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem is, that you know, it might have been a dream. You know what I mean? It's like you said, that the best way of doing this, and you'll know about this, and the old ways, you know, sort of like round the fire with smells around you, you know, sort of like bringing, you know, that memory recall of, and sometimes you get the smell from that place where you was at the time. and you'll get the feeling of wind or rain coming down, and it'll bring the memory back. It'll bring it back.
It's called a trigger. The smell can trigger it. The eyes of a deer are common for a trigger.
Yeah.
Or the eyes of an owl. Just the big eyes in general.
Yeah.
Can be a trigger.
It's so many things. You know, just being in the place where you was, you know, sort of like all these things can bring the recall back without anybody even sort of like trying to coax it out of you or knock it out. You'll remember this is what happened. You know what I mean? It's like, wow.
Well, that's also I go ahead.
You mentioned, Eric, that you test the people that do the astral travel. How do you do that? How can you test someone for that?
Basically, by the way they describe the astral, I looked at the history. How long have you been astraling? Have you encountered entities through astral? A series of questions.
Okay, because I never heard of being tested for that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
No, because my wife does astral. Well, she used to. She doesn't anymore. But
why is that? Can I ask? Is it personal or?
Why?
Is it... Yeah. Why don't?
It's personal.
Right. No problem.
It's personal. But having an astral team makes it a lot easier with cases because distance for one's not an issue. They can go from Washington to Florida in a matter of seconds. It's easier to see entities through the astral. It's easier to deal with entities through the astral. Then we have 2 Reiki healers on the team as well. They can actually do energy healing if one of the team gets hurt or if the client is hurt.
Can I just ask you, what happens if you get lost? What happens if you know?
They go by the energy of the client, whether it's a picture or talking to them. They can find the client that way through energy.
Right.
Do you actually have boots on the ground too? Do y'all go out in person to investigate things?
If we have anyone local to that area, yeah. But that's the thing about being astral too. We don't have to physically, because we've had some clients that they don't want anybody in their home for privacy or because they've. But by the time we get the case, most of the time, not bashing on anybody, not bad mouthing anybody, but because I get accused of that. But I've had clients that they've had paranormal teams come in, and a lot of these paranormal teams, they're scientific. Yep, you're haunted. Don't know what to do for you now. So now what? By the time we get the case, these people are so terrified or so I don't know, drained that they're just relieved that someone can help. Okay.
I know it said on your bio that you are a last choice for a lot of people, that they are really don't have anybody to turn to. Right,
because that's why we're a paranormal crisis team. We're not scientific. As pagans, we already know entities are here. We already know spirits are here. We deal with it all the time. That's part of being a pagan, or a witch, or a druid, or whichever path you're on. All pagans know entities are here. So we're not here. Not everything's a demon. Not everything's that gets on my nerves. I go in all these groups and I'm being attacked by a demon. Well, demons really, honestly, aren't as common as society makes it out to be. You do have demonic attacks, don't get me wrong, but half the time it's just an angry spirit or another type of entity.
What type of entity? When you say another type, in what way?
Hell, you've got shadow walkers. You've got now you're making me go blank. You've got shadow walkers.
Shadow walkers. Tell me about shadow walkers.
Shadow walkers have a life of their own. You've got shadows. You've got spirits that use shadows. Shadow walker is a whole other entity. It's got its own life, its own persona, and they can basically hop from shadow to shadow. They're not nice. They're have no good intention, and I guess that's the easiest way to explain them.
Right. Because I've met
they're not.
I met creatures called what I call shadow warriors, and these are not nice. They take people, they put them in to a military unit, but these are, as far as I can make out, there's a couple of different types from different planets, you could say. But these, when they come through the actual shadows, you can see what they actually look like. But are you talking about these that have no definition, that are just shadows and that's it?
Right.
Is that the type you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen a shadow walker other than in shadow form. So yeah, I don't know if they have their own appearance or whatnot. But then, as far as entity types, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to know. I want to know your most frightening case. I mean, I know you said that you're, being a witch and everything, that you're used to knowing that there's spirits and different things like that. But is there a particular case that actually stumped you, that you had no idea what to do about?
You've got me thinking. Not that I can recall.
Well, I guess that's a good thing then.
Yeah, we haven't encountered anything we haven't been able to deal with. Again, I don't astral, so I'm not the boots on ground per se.
So when you say deal with, what do you actually do to deal with these things?
They remove them. They cleanse location. They remove the entity. They send it back to where it came from, basically, or kill it.
Right.
If it's a spirit, oh yeah, these are astral warriors. They're not just they're there to fight if they need to. So they've got their warrior blood. In fact, 2 or 3 of our team are all ex-military. Not that matters, but that's the kind of blood you want, I guess you could say.
So they take this very seriously. This is not a game to them.
Oh, hell no. No, not at all. No, we take every case seriously. In fact, we've got 2 cases with kids involved. If there's a kid involved, they go to the top of the list.
So in what way do you get rid of them then? What weaponry would you have? Psychic weaponry?
Well, one of them's got a sword.
I could meet him there. I've got a few swords here.
Yeah. One of our teams, he carries a sword with him when he's in astral.
So it is more of a spiritual astral war fight with spiritual and astral swords and what have you.
Yes.
Personally,
yes.
I would take my Mac with me spiritually. I would, you know what I mean. I wouldn't take my sword. That'd be sort of like for later. You know what I mean. I would take definitely a Mac or sort of like HK. You know what I mean. I think the sword will be for later, you know, sort of like, but wow, if you know what I mean. Oh dear.
Uh-huh.
So how many? So yeah, I mean, have they actually have they had some actual injuries themselves?
We've had a couple bumps and bruises, nothing major. Again, I'm trying to think of the cases we've done. We've done this for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have a lot of downtime. It's really a matter of getting the word out, because I can go on all the different paranormal groups and, you know, advertise, but it takes a lot for me to go on 100 different groups and find people that need help, because they're all over the place.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I don't think people would realise that there is quite a lot of people out there that do actually need help in some respect, from all sorts of different things. You know, not only aliens, sort of like, we were talking to a gentleman the other day, and they're called out to poltergeists and what have you. You know, sort of like an hauntings, and you know, I'm not sure. You know, it's probably like ufology, and that you would get maybe quite a lot of this, but some people don't know where to report it, and some people wouldn't report it anyway, just in case they would be ridiculed, just like, you know, we are in this subject of UFOs.
Yeah, all the time. And then you do have your occasional psychiatric case. That's kind of part of my process. I do ask, are you on medication? Are you seeing a psychiatrist? There's certain triggers I look for, or certain red flags I do look for.
Yeah, I noticed on your form that you did that. You asked about medication, about, you know, what went on in the home, if they knew of anything that had went on in the home before, you know, all kinds of different things. I mean, it was really a very detailed questionnaire.
It is.
It needs to be, though. It needs to be.
Yeah.
Before you walk into somebody's house, I mean, you know, you could be walking in a big danger.
Yeah. Then you got people that are dabbling where they shouldn't be. A Ouija board, for example, if you don't know what you're doing, you can open a portal up.
Yeah, even
it's going to stay open.
Even if you do know what you're doing, it's not. It's not a good thing to do, even if. Excuse me. That's just my way of thinking, but.
Yeah, it kills me that Parker Brothers makes it. A game company.
Oh, wow.
I was working at Target in the toy department. Yeah, I was working at Target in the toy department in Atlanta. I worked there for about a year, and I had this kid come up, and she said she was looking for a game. I said, okay, what kind of game are you looking for? And here it is. It's a Ouija board. I'm like, oh, my God, no, you don't want to play with that. Well, why not? It's not real. Like, oh, it's very real. She can't remember if she put it back or not, but, yeah, there we go. There's another mess to clean up.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, a Ouija board, you don't mess with them. I actually had an Ouija board years and years ago, and just wanted to see if it was real or not. So played around with it a little bit. My daughter was watching me, and so I thought, well, I can't make this thing do anything. You know, it's just a fake. So I closed my eyes, and I told my daughter, I said, I'm going to put my hand on the guide, and I said, you write down the letters that it points to, and I'm going to ask the question. I only asked two. The first one I asked was, is there a presence in this room? And she wrote down the answer. And then my second question was, what is the name of the spirit in this room? And then I heard my daughter say, oh, Mama, open your eyes, open your eyes. And so I opened my eyes. And the answer to the first question, the pointer went to yes. And on the second question, it spelled out two words. And my question was, what is the name of the spirit in this room? is spelled out no name.
Oh wow.
So I got rid of it. I got rid of the Ouija board. So yuck.
Well, they're not going to give you their name. Names give you power. If you know the name of the entity, if you know the name, you can remove it much easier. So yeah, they usually won't give you a name.
And anybody that's seen a Ouija board, you know that all the letters are spread out randomly, and if you have your eyes closed and you're moving the guide, you cannot see. I mean, I had a blindfold on. I had my eyes shut and a blindfold. I could not see anything. And the odds of me spelling out 2 words are so high, it wouldn't even be, anybody wouldn't be able to do that unless they had a keen memory and had the whole board memorized, which I didn't. So that told me that you need to be careful doing that stuff.
Deborah, you have surprised me.
Well, hey, I'm curious.
That's a problem.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say curiosity. It's not a good thing being curious.
Well, Eric, you mentioned you had a couple of cases with children without, giving away names or anything like that. Could you sort of just touch a little bit on, what was going on?
Well, I can't remember names anyway. Again, my memory. But kids are an open conduit to begin with. Kids will always see things before the adults will. So one to be protected regardless. And so many parents just chalk everything up to be imagination and don't listen to their kids. That's why by the time a group gets a hold of a child case, it's already gone too far. We've got one case where the kid's terrified because he keeps I'm trying to remember the case, but I think there's a male presence and a child presence. Actually, there's 2 or 3 different cases where there's an adult spirit that is hindering the child spirit. And this human child is seeing all this. And so, you have to go remove the adult spirit to release the child spirit, follow me here, to help the human child,
Yeah.
We've got another child, I guess she's a teen, and she's gifted. She's basically a medium, and the mother doesn't know what to do with it.
Wow, that has to be hard.
Yeah, because the mother wants to help her daughter, but doesn't know how. And without actually talking to the daughter, you can't help either one of them. You can, explain to the mother how she can be a focal point, but if the mother doesn't want to listen, then what do? In some cases, you can't help. Other than, find someone local to the area that can go that is a medium that can help, train the daughter. Because in a lot of those cases, you can't seal it. You can shield it, but it can't be sealed.
So you believe that some people are more susceptible to paranormal anomalies than others?
Oh yeah. Hands down. You've got some people they'll never experience a paranormal event in their life, and you can have little green men come up in their yard, and it must be true. It must be Halloween.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sometimes it does take it takes a lot to convince people, and sometimes there's some people that'll they'll never see anything as long as they live. It will just not happen. If you know what I mean, it will just not happen. And
Well,
you know,
I guess they can consider themselves lucky.
yeah, you can say that again. And then again, there's some people that even if they see something, right, yeah, they will not really be that interested. They'll just brush it off and say, no. Does that make any sense? You know.
Oh yeah, Philip Class, for example.
Right.
Now, are you and all your team members, you're just doing this to help people? I mean, do you charge for your services, or how does that work?
No. We don't take money from anybody. No, we just do this to help people. That's it.
Well, that's
Wow, that's really great.
amicable, is that? It really is. And I mean, the thing is, you know, I know from running a group for a number of years, the UFO investigations group, that you know, the money it takes to go out there. I mean, I used to take members, you know, where there'd been sightings. You know, every weekend we'd actually go out, and then we'd go out sometimes on the investigations. And sort of like, you know, the cost back then, you know, was,
Yeah.
you know, are you there yet?
Yeah.
Are you there, Deborah? Just bear with us.
Yeah, I'm here.
Right.
I'm hovering in the background.
You're hoovering. Well, don't hoover in the background.
Yeah.
Stop it. Don't hoover in the background. I thought there was something making a noise.
It was me.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to hover. Yeah.
But
Well, what a great team! What a great team you put together, Eric. That you know, everybody has a caring spirit about them and wants to reach out and help these families. I'm sure some of the cases are heart-rending, and it's really good to see a paranormal team have a goal like this to help people. And you know, it's not just all about the money.
Oh hell no. We don't take money from anybody. We also do education. We educate people on how to properly cleanse their house, how to what stones are best to use. In my arsenal, I usually keep white sage. I keep bloodstone for protection. I encourage amethyst for peace. Rose quartz is good for nightmares, and you put that under your bed or under your pillow. So there are certain properties we encourage people to go out and pick up.
you know, my house is full of these things.
Mine too.
Well, that's good.
And
You have a very safe home.
And
I have amethyst stone. I have a quartz stone, a rose quartz stone, and I always keep sage. In fact, I brought back quite a bit from Mexico. So
Deborah, are you sure that was sage?
yeah, it was sage.
Oh dear me!
It definitely was sage. I put it in my glove box, and oh my gosh, I can still smell it there.
Deborah, that sounds even worse. Shut up. No incriminating evidence on the show.
I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl.
Yeah, I met good girls before.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you talk about the stones and everything, because I actually believe that stones are a conduit sometimes for communication. I was doing a meditation with what's called the CE5 team. San Diego, in fact, was the name of the team. And I was holding rose quartz stone in my hand, just holding the stone. And I don't know why, but after the meditation, I went and got my camera and I took a picture of the stone. And I thought, why am I doing this? So I looked at the picture later and I thought, well, I don't see anything. But I kept on enlarging the picture until I had enlarged it about 8 or 9 times. And on the stone were 2 pictures. And one of them was of... It looked like it had 2 big eyes, and it sort of looked like an ET. And the other thing that showed up on the stone, it was the silhouette of a Native American, their head and their headdress. And you can see these, it's not one of those things where you say, here's a little blob, and yeah, that could be this, that could be an Indian, that could be an ET. No, you can look at these pictures and that is what you see. So I definitely feel that sometimes stones can be a conduit for communication, and I don't know how that works, but I saw it with my eyes.
Any form of the crystal family seems to be charged for communication or
if you look,
magnification.
Yeah, if you look at say some of throughout history, you can look at kings and queens and families and royal families and things like that, and you'll see they've got crowns with gold, and always have the actual diamonds, and have always got stones. Have you ever noticed that? There's always stones. I mean, the more precious.
And a lot of swords are encrusted with precious gems and everything.
That's right.
But rubies are big. Lapis lazuli was big in Egypt.
Yeah. So all of these, it's not only because that they look nice and that it's like anything that's hard to find is like, ooh, it's precious, right? Yeah, but it's not only this; it's because it actually it vibrates, the actual vibration of these stones, and sort of like
a magnetic field, yes,
a field and a vibrational field around them, and the draw power.
You've got to look at the color, though, because the stones themselves have their own resonance, and the color of the stone plays a big part as well. Because colors have their own vibration.
That's right.
So you put the vibration of the color with the stone, because rose quartz is different than quartz. Yeah. I mean, as far as the properties go.
And does rose quartz have something special? I mean, about it, because I found a stone one time. I was just walking in the grass, and I don't know why I reached down and I pulled out a rose quartz stone that was shaped like a heart. So I felt like that there was a message in that piece of quartz rock that I found. So
rose quartz plays a lot with feeling, emotions. Is a big part of rose quartz.
And the other thing you've got to remember is stones and colours of stones represent people's birth charts and what have you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's related to astrology.
If you have a look at that as well, that's right. Astrology and birth signs. I mean, I think mine's what do you call it now? What do you call it now? Flipping heck, turquoise. Mine's turquoise. So and you have that. You have they're all.
My favorite's bloodstone.
Your favourite's bloodstone? Yeah.
Mine is aquamarine. Can you hear me, guys? Thank you for listening to our broadcast. This is Skywatcher Radio, and that was UFOradio.pro. We apologize for some problems with Skype, but sometimes you have to do the best we can. We edited together some really bad places, but the majority of the interview is intact. Thank you for listening, and thank our guest, Eric Cooper.